was the last time you really took the time to rest? And I'm not talking about a physical rest in the form of sleeping. I'm not talking about getting your mind away from what's happening and just meditate on just any random thing or find yourself in another country to relax and on vacation. When was the last time you rested? Rest at Jesus' feet. It's time for rest. The Lord has called us to rest, and there are many ways to rest. But it begins at Jesus' feet. That's the best place to rest. For it takes us away from the distraction of the world. It takes us away from being cumbered and worried and caught up and it's time to rest. It's time to rest, somebody. Truly rest at Jesus' feet, for he wants to pour out upon you there. He wants to renew. He wants to refresh. There's so much he wants to reveal and show you, strategies he wants to give you. Rest at Jesus' feet. It's a good place to rest. Talk with him. Rest with him. Rest in God. Rest at his feet. Choose rest. Resting in God, meditating on his word. Sometimes we have to stop and be still and hear what the Lord has to say. Breathe in the moment. Remind ourselves why we're here and what the Lord has called us to, because we have to do his will too. There's so many of us, we're caught up in work. We have so much work to do. We have this to do, and it's one thing after the other that we are trying to accomplish. But then there comes a time when we must rest. Because if you don't rest, there won't be progress. Mighty God, stay at Jesus' feet. Let him reveal stuff to you. Find him and let him pour into you. Your life is not just about working. You have to find time to rest. You're not here to be worried and caught up and distracted and living fear. If you find yourself at that place, it means you're being called to rest. Martha was working and distracted with the preparations for Jesus, while Mary was at Jesus' feet listening to him. Martha said to Jesus, "Don't you care that Mary is not helping me?" But Jesus said to Martha, "Martha, Martha, 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 you are caught up with these things. You're busy with these things, but Mary has chosen what's better, and it will not be taken from her." Mighty God, it will not be taken from her. Luke 10:38-42. For she has found rest, and it will not be taken from her. Sometimes we get so distracted and caught up with what we should not be caught up with, fighting battles we should not be fighting, living in rebellion, living in unforgiveness. Aren't you tired? It's time to rest. You have to find rest at Jesus' feet. When you find yourself cumbered and worried and not trusting him as you should and living in fear, it means you're being called to rest. Because if you can't rest, you won't progress. Hallelujah. Abide in Jesus. Find time to be at the feet of Jesus. Hallelujah. Jesus commended Mary for finding the time to sit at his feet instead of being distracted with work. I know you have a lot to do, but in serving God, you have to rest in him too. It's a requirement in serving God that you have to rest in him as well. Rest in God. Rest in God. Rest in God. Receive insight. Renew your mind down there. Come unto me, all ye that are labored and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Hallelujah. Matthew 11:30. You have a lot to do, but find time to rest at Jesus' feet. Else, everything that you're doing you will not find progress. You'll not see where it's going. You will not see a clear path because you don't learn to rest. Stop worrying about what's not going well and what you can't change. Like Martha, we get so busy trying to find a way to accommodate Jesus, not remembering that he has called us to rest. I don't know who the Lord is sending this word to, but it's time for you to find yourself at Jesus' feet. It's time for you to find yourself at Jesus' feet. It's time to rest. It's time for you to find yourself at Jesus' feet. Let the enemy find you resting in Jesus. Let the storm find you unperturbed, unshaken, in Jesus. Sleep on a sinking boat with Jesus. While the storm is raging, let it find you resting in Jesus. Rest, my friend, so that there can be progress in your life. Rest, because it's in your resting place with Him. You talk with Him. He communes with you. He pours into you. He speaks to you and through you. It's time for rest. It's time to find time to be at Jesus' feet. It's time to rest. For there is so much that He wants to say to you. There's so much that He wants to do in you. Oh, somebody, your progress is in your rest. It's time for you to be refueled and to strengthen again, because you've been going on and on and on and on, and God is saying it's time to rest. And sometimes when we find ourselves really questioning God's ability, it's because we have not found the time to remain at Jesus' feet until we are renewed, until we feel strengthened, until we feel like God has given us what we need in order to go forward. Rest is available. Will you take it? Will you stop and rest? Will you rest? Will you seek Jesus while you can find Him? Will you remain at His feet so He can minister to you and administer healing to you? For you've been going on, and that's why we're weary. That's why we're tired, and that's why we can't be bothered. For we don't find the time to rest. The Lord is saying, I'm giving you rest. I'm giving you rest. I'm giving you rest. Hallelujah. Take this rest so you can progress.